Welcome to the My Rules Are Better podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. This is my second recording of this particular recording, but I thought the first one was just, not necessarily too bleak. I just wanted to talk about things in a different way. So, in particular, because I get the sense that many of us in our podcasting community have kind of fallen off in recent months, some in recent years. I just didn't want that to be the case with regards to My Rules Are Better. And I wanted to give an update just to say, yes, there have been various life changes in my life, but I'm back doing contracting work and getting a little bit of income. And it's actually rather interesting because the perception that I had that I'd probably have to give up podcasting and give up my books if I got into particular kinds of professions has been proven incorrect. I will probably have to get rid of my open source potentially, or at least put up my open source for review. But books and podcasts I'm allowed to continue with by the looks of things. So that in and of itself has been a nice pause for thought, and just the thought, oh, good, I'll be able to continue these things when things get back to some degree of normalcy. I had some notes to read from just to give a sense of this. So in the short term, until I get back to regular work, until I get back to workaday work, I think the books are probably taking a back seat, and that's just because I'm at a stage where I need to invest some time and a little bit of money into doing it. And, when you have choices to make in these circumstances, the writing is really secondary to a bunch of different things, but that doesn't mean that the writing's going anywhere. It just means that, unfortunately, I can only do it at certain times in my life, and this just isn't one of those times. So I'm moving on currently, but don't think that these things are cast out, because they're really at the very last stages of getting ready for publication. It really, I think, probably would be a month, and I don't know how many $100 more it would be, but in an order of that number to actually get these things finalized and finally printed. So not really the end of the world with that, but just pausing it for a little bit of time. I've been heavily interested in my spare time in Warhammer the Old World, and it's interesting actually because I've recontacted with a fellow who's a local wargamer, and he also is interested in Warhammer the Old World. So I think through Facebook Messenger we've come to some kind of discussive agreement that this will be a thing, at least when the rules come out. And I hear that some people have gotten the rules, but I'm not one of these influencers to get the rules, unfortunately, so I will be biding my time and waiting for the rules to come out. I'm not really sure how much I feel about these dribs and drabs leaks that Games Workshop is doing with regards to Warhammer the Old World. I think they should realise that they're dealing with a kind of mature audience here and just giving bits and pieces, specifically with regards to two factions I've never played nor really have any interest. Bretonnians might have some degree of interest with me, but it's quite ironic that the name of this podcast is My Rules Are Better, but I'm actually salivating for the potential for me to be a White Dwarf reader again, or at least some of the content in White Dwarf to be something that I can actually read once again. The bases are the same size. I've had some correspondence with my friend Ron Kleiss of Mindmount Models to actually get some movement trays together for my dwarves. My dwarves will be the first Warhammer the Old World army that I'm surfacing. I think probably my Wood Elves will be the next army, but I would love to get the Rochi Rochford Undead Army and Rochi Rochford Chaos Army out there. But it looks like both those factions may not actually be part of Warhammer the Old World, which would be very, very curious. I think I might just get the Undead Army circulating anyway, just because it's a few bases away from being done. And that, in and of itself, I think would be a beautiful little army to put on a table with some friendly gameplay with at least someone else in Las Vegas. So what was originally really a community of no one, I'm glad at least I found one person through my kind of general levels of discourse and influence in this particular circumstance. So a short podcast, but one hopefully that will provide some degree of hope. I got my lead pile back as well. So the Imperial Guard and the Greenskins from Rochi Rochford. So my lead pile is now represented in 9 boxes for some time in the future, maybe with my daughters, maybe by myself, maybe with some figure painter that I can find in the near future. And it's interesting, actually, going back, I opened a case of Fred Reed's. Fred Reed was the first miniature painter that I seriously commissioned with. And I opened a case of Fred Reed's to have a sniff through and a look through, and just, they're very unique things. So I don't know if there's a miniature painter in my future, but Rochi has certainly been a very good guy. And like I say, I've got 2 of his old Hammer armies ready to take into battle sometime soon. So a Christmas update, let's just say. Tom Barbalet in Las Vegas, Nevada, wishing you all a happy Christmas and a wonderful 2024. Signing out.